Hey everyone, this is Burnett Sherman, and this is That Cheryl Life podcast. This is episode 18, and this one is going to be a little different again. It's unscripted this time. Why? Because I didn't know ahead of time what I wanted to talk about, and I decided I'm just going to talk and see what comes out. Why? Because I didn't hear from anyone, and that's the truth. And I will also admit that made me do some other work, some more spiritual work, some more internal work on myself that I needed to do. There are all these layers and layers that we have to go through when we're on a spiritual journey. As if you listen to my podcast, you probably believe that, we're spiritual beings having this physical experience, but we're all on this spiritual journey, and our bodies are the vessels that allow us to do that journey, at least on this planet. And on this planet, we'll leave it there. So when I didn't hear from people, I had to go back and do some work, right? And it was strange because night before last, and this goes out on Thursday, I'm recording this on Wednesday, but I had this strange dream that woke me up, and I really had to sit with it after I woke up to understand, why did I have this dream? What did it mean? And then it came to me that it was a situation where I was part of a group, and even though I was part of the group, I was not being fully accepted for who I am. Right? And if you heard my last episode, you understood that there were some concerns around that. So clearly, I'm still doing work, always. And so as I lay in bed, working my way through what this dream represented and what it meant and what I needed to do, I really laid in bed and I did the Ho'oponopono prayer right then to start healing that wound, right? That I'm still trying to deal with. And I realized that, not hearing from anyone when you're doing something like this can also kind of trigger some of those same feelings. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Very few people listen to my podcast, and that's the reality. And I know a lot of podcasts, that's going to be the reality for them as well. But for me, it's obviously, I'm not making any money from this, obviously. But it was a service of love and me trying to share some things. And so when you're trying to share something, it's pretty important that you have someone to share it with, that someone's on the other end being the receiver of the gift. And if there's no one there, one, that means you're not sharing, and two, you're kind of wasting your time, right? And I'm not a huge person for wasting time. I'm a pretty practical and efficient Capricorn. Yeah, I'll sometimes scroll on social media for longer than I should, but I'm not huge on wasting time. And so I really have to think about, how do I approach this? Where do I go from here? It's September. I just published my book, Who Moved My Curves? And I'm so excited about it. It's on mindset, manifestation, wellness, and creating that through yourself, for yourself, using a, approach that I coined the rent principles. That's, another way that I'm trying to share some of the stuff that I've been blessed and fortunate enough to learn and do in my own life. And so I didn't have a topic because I was like, well, this is anyone going to hear it anyway? And I don't know if anyone's going to hear this. But if you do, thank you for listening. And I do want to tell you where you can find me because, this is a whole new month and I'm in a whole new era. 18 feels kind of grown. It's episode 18. I've grown through this season of my life of doing this podcast. It was something I'd been wanting to do for a while. I definitely envisioned it going differently. And I also realized that not everything that we want or think we want to do is in alignment with what our divine purpose has called us to do. I wanted to do this podcast, but was it truly in alignment with my divine purpose? And when I sat back and I sat with that question, I meditated and allowed Spirit to speak to me, the answer is a no. Was it fun? Sure, something can be fun. But sometimes we confuse things that are fun with things that we're supposed to do something more with, if that makes sense. I gave a talk at Unity South Atlanta the last weekend of, I guess it was not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And I talked about like all the things that we go after, the shiny stars and the things that glitter, and that not every star is meant for us. Not every star is ours. And if you are an empathic person, if you are intuitive and you kind of feel into the ethers, you may tune into these things that are beautiful and shiny and bright and attractive. All these stars you see in the sky, but they're not necessarily meant for you. And I've had to learn that even though I tune into a ton of stars, right? They're not all meant for me. And I have to be very discerning about what is truly in alignment with what I am uniquely guided and called to do. And then from there, take that inspired and intentional action towards my purpose and staying in alignment with what I'm here to do and who I'm here to be. Knowing that I'm in a unique position, how do I leverage that to help others from that position? And it's something I have to ask myself. And I encourage you, if you're listening to this and you find yourself sometimes pulling on other people's stars, trying to catch them, that you do that inner work and say, what is for you? What is in alignment with your divine purpose? That you can get not just your energy behind, but the support of the universe behind you, because you're walking in alignment with what is for you. Because not everything is for you. Not everything is for me. Not everything that glitters is your gold. So, wow, I feel like this is kind of a wrap up. This is a wrap up. This is episode 18 of That Shiro Life podcast. The first episode was April 18th. And after 18 episodes, I'm at peace with the fact that this star that I thought was glittering for me is not for me. And what that does for me is it opens up my energetic space. It opens up my time, my energy, my mind, my mental space, all of that. And when something is open, you are able to then invite and receive something else in that place. When it's crowded and cluttered with other things, and especially things that aren't really meant for you, that means there's no space for the things that are meant for you to come in. So when I release this, when I let it go, that's part of my rest and reset principle. When I let this go, I'm sending a message to the universe that this space can now be filled with something that is in alignment with my divine and higher purpose. Because before it says, well, I want to pour this into your life. I want to give you this. I want to create these opportunities, but the space is full. So I'm freeing up that space and I'm allowing myself to be filled with the next best thing for my highest good and for the highest good of all, so that I can serve in the way that I'm here to serve. I hope that you all understand that. And I hope that you'll continue to join me on this journey. Go to BurnettSherman.com. Trying to aggregate things there, except for my publishing business, which is at MountHopeMedia.com. So my books, the books I'm doing for other people. Yay, finally. Yeah, that's one of the things, right? It fell into my lap, kind of, yeah, to help someone publish their journal. And I realized that the universe, I cracked this door when I even put out the idea that maybe this podcast wasn't going to continue. And suddenly this came in, an opportunity to help someone publish a journal. Enjoyed the process and the collaborative publishing arrangement. And it's like, okay, yeah, that would be, I would love to do more of that with books and journals that are in alignment with my divine purpose. So not just everything, but very targeted kind of work. Because I believe that when we are intentional about it, we can right the world. We can put out positive things that uplift, that heal, that move us forward in the direction, a better direction for humanity and this planet. I thoroughly believe that, and I want to be a part of that. So I have that. And then my other stuff as an author, as a speaker, as a coach, all of that is at BurnettSherman.com. You can also get that book I mentioned, Who Moved My Curves, and the workbook, any programs I'm doing. They're going to be there. And I just want to say to anyone who has been with me and who has actually tuned into all these episodes, thank you. Thank you truly. Because I know you didn't have to do it. You didn't have to be there. To every guest who gave their time and their energy to show up on my podcast, thank you. These episodes will live on in some way. They'll be where they are now, at least until next year. And then I will make sure that they are on my YouTube channel from then on. They're there now, but that they will be there and accessible on my YouTube channel so that you can go back and find them there. Thank you. I am wishing the best for you. I'm wishing that you step into your adventure, that you answer the call to adventure like I am. I realize that sometimes we do things like this, not necessarily for other people even. And I say things like this podcast, doing something of service that we think is for others. And when we do it, we realize that we've gotten just as much from it. I'm talking about call to adventure, and meanwhile, I'm being called to an adventure. I was being called. And when I would speak and do these podcasts and say these messages, I'm receiving them as well. And it helped me to step into this next phase of really going into the mindset, metaphysics, manifestation for wealth and wellness from a perspective that we can create it using our mindset, healing, universal principles, practical approaches, our mojo, right? That we can have it and we can create it generational wealth. And not just money, but also the way we are through our generations, generational healing, which leads to more wealth down the road. And I won't get into that now, but it's all connected. So thank you one more time. If you want to get in touch with me, please visit my website, BurnettSherman.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. At least those are the social media platforms of the day that I'm on. And I have a newsletter and resources on my website. So I am here. I am doing the work that I am being called to do, and I'm stepping into my next grand adventure. And I hope that you will say yes to yours. Keep living and being about that Shiro life. I see you. I feel you. I am you. I love you. Take care.